when we came to America, we were 14 children. And then I have 4 children, and let me show you this. This is my wedding picture. I was the first one in my family to marry an American. And you're going to enjoy the story of the wedding. But first, I'm going to start with the more serious thing. Before I came to America, I was put in prison. When the Bay of Pigs took place, within 2 or 3 days, Fidel Castro picked up 100,000 prisoners all over the island. And the most interesting thing is, this never shows up in American history books. The Bay of Pigs, as you know, was planned and executed by Kennedy, who's a Democrat. And you're not going to find many Cubans who are Democrats. And the invasion failed. So they came to my house. My dad was the Dean of Engineering of the La Nova University in Cuba. And they came to my house and they said, everybody above 12 goes to prison. That was me, my 2 sisters, my dad, 3 visitors. And they wanted to take my mom too, but my mom had just lost baby number 15 and she was bleeding, so they let her stay. And they took us to my dad went to a prison called next to El Morro. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of Cuba. There's a Morro in La Cabaña. He was there in prison with a fortress that was designed for 3,000 people. They put like 9,000 prisoners there. And I went to the women's prison of Guanabacoa. As the police was checking my house, before they took us, I had hidden a gun in the yard. A boy I was dating had been working on the underground, and he had given me the gun that morning. Unfortunately, we hid it so well that they never found it. But if they had, my heart was like this. And if they had found it, my dad would have been in trouble. Subsequently, it was also found that where my dad was the Dean of Engineering, they had hidden, the underground had hidden arms and had hidden explosives to make bombs. Fortunately for us, that was not found at the time my dad was in prison. They found it later on. Either one of those 2 things would have guaranteed his execution. We were fortunate because initially Fidel didn't have enough control of the country, and we were able to get out legally. My dad had a job possibility at Catholic University, so we all came here. And the 14 of us got into an apartment with 3 bedrooms, and we piled up as best we could. Things from then went well. My dad, we were all working hard. I was able to study at Catholic University and got my degree in counseling. And also, one thing I wanted to mention before I leave, I'm going to talk 3 things: Cuba, United States, and Alex. Before I finish Cuba, before Fidel, before I was put in prison, I was part of the student government at the La Nova in Cuba. And Fidel had made a law against the La Nova. We all had to go back 2 years because the students from public schools had been 2 years with the public schools closed. And that was, I campaigned for it, I campaigned against it. We organized the students, and it's the only law that Fidel Castro has ever changed. So that has always given me a lot of courage and a lot of trust on the democratic process, the campaigning and all that, which we did. After we came to Catholic University, I met my husband there. He was a math major, Vincent Mooney, who also had been in ROTC. He was an officer, and then we got married, and the next year he went to Vietnam, and I'm very proud of him. He was there 1 year. He was a computer programmer. And then now, the funny part, a little bit of the interaction, is my wedding. I was the first one to marry an American. You can imagine, my mom said she took a risk, and my kids said, what kind of risk? So I think that shows the process of assimilation. My dad was, you're in America, you do as the Americans, and we were all on time, always on time. Well, I'm getting to the chapel. I got married in Trinity, which is across from Georgetown, and it was almost 12 o'clock, and I said to my dad, Dad, there's not going to be any Cubans there at 12 o'clock. The wedding's at 12 o'clock, I'm ready, there's not going to be anybody. So my dad parked his car in Georgetown University, put on the Redskins game, and he and my brother listened to the Redskins game while we waited. All the American side was all the Americans sitting there, all the Cuban side totally empty. So that was, then we finally got there, I don't know the time, 12:30, 12:45. Yeah, probably. And we had the wedding, and appreciate the American side understanding. By then, when we got to the reception, the same thing. On the one side, they were the American side, shaking hands with everybody, one by one. On the other side, my parents, talking to everybody, and there was no line to be had. So my husband was from an Irish family from Boston, and they had also felt what it was to be Irish in Boston, that for a long time it wasn't the easiest thing. So they were understanding, and we were, raising our kids. Like Mr. Pope said, in the process of assimilation, we accepted the American way of doing things and being on time. And then now, I'll get a little bit to Alex. Alex was born exactly 10 months after my husband came from Vietnam. And I was lucky, I told the doctor, make sure it's 10 months, He was wonderful. He's always been, I have 4, he's always been a people person. When Alex campaigned, and it's a good thing he's not here now because I can talk about him. When he campaigns, he makes it very personable. And in the last campaign, I had his babysitter come in, and she was helping us, and the first thing she asked her about her brother by name. So one of the things, when he says he door knocks, he really does, but he also makes that bond with people that made him so successful. When he was 26, he told me he was going to run, and my sister was in the back seat of the car, and she told me this, she said, I would kill him. He's crazy. And I thought he was crazy. But he was campaigning very strongly against partial birth abortion. So I said to Father God, I am really against partial birth abortion. So this guy ain't gonna win, but I'll work. And I took a leave of absence. I was a guidance counselor for the last 16 years of my life. It so happened that I was living at the time in Fairfax. So I'm very proud to say I took a leave of absence in every campaign, and when I look at my income from Social Security, you can tell the effect, it had. But I'm very proud that I was there with him. The first time he was single, so I would wake him up in the morning and do all kinds of things with him. He, help him whatever was needed. The second campaign, his campaign manager was a young lady, 21 years old, and she was ordering me around all the time. And I took it, and I know, and I think some of you that are married or that are in a supportive role, I feel that was so important too, that we have a candidate, and of course, of all he didn't win this last election, but the role of the family, the role of the wife, the role of the relatives. It's a very important one, and here when we come to the Hispanic value, that helps too, because Hispanics are very family oriented and are very personable. And like he says, if they know he's Hispanic, there's an issue of trust. There's an issue of wanting to be for him. I don't want to talk anymore. Let's see. Like Mr. Pope has said, the values of the culture are great ones, and like he said, our desire to assimilate, but also bring the positive values that our culture has to this culture. That I think is an important strategy. And I also think, while Alex did not win this last campaign, he has mentored and supported people. Like he had, Mike Hoff was his campaign manager, and he's now a delegate, Neil Parrott. He had really helped Neil Parrott succeed. And Alex touches a lot of people, young people too, you know, all ages. So I'd like to encourage all of you to take the role and also to maybe bring that value that we all have to participate in the democratic process. Thank you very much.